So, the question that needs to be asked, how much of an ally is America? Historically, having the US as an ally was something special. But lately, after a series of ultra-poor foreign policy decisions, it's clear that the US no longer represents loyalty, freedom, and prosperity. On the contrary, even its status as bastion of democracy has been horribly dented over the last few years, with the attempted insurrection and a massive political polarization leaving it teetering on autocracy or even civil war. Unfortunately, this internal political strife has negatively affected its allies. There was Afghanistan, and we all know how that ended, and now their flaccid support of Ukraine is leaving it swinging in the wind. But before we focus too much on the current American political stalemate, let's remember that up until November of last year, the American Congress was controlled by the Democratic Party. That's a full 8 months of the war, and what that means is that President Biden had more than enough time to help Ukraine effectively, to help them prepare properly for their counteroffensive, to give them the equipment they needed. Instead, Sleepy Joe has consistently slow-played his support for this proud country. The question is why? Time after time, the White House has measured every bit of aid against fears of escalation with Russia, saying a certain weapon might cause the Kremlin to go nuclear. But each time experts and allies have pressured the administration into finally sending these systems that the White House previously deemed too provocative, be they multiple launch rocket systems, Patriot air defense systems, or main battle tanks, Moscow's threats proved hollow. You have thought that Ukraine's war effort would have shown Biden, and the rest of the world for that matter, that Russia is a paper dragon and that fearing it will only embolden it. I have spoken endlessly about the 31 Abrams, a tiny fraction of what was needed. This situation with the tanks pointed to a man forced into a situation he never wanted to be in. The Germans would only send Leopard if America sent Abrams, so he sent the minimum, and even then, a year late. Those tanks still haven't gone into action. The performance of the Bradley against Russia has been well documented, yet here America is, sending 500 storage units to Morocco when that number could be the game changer in Ukraine. Then of course there are the F-16s. With so many better variants available, the question remains, why haven't they been sent? The Dutch and Danish have sent as many as they can, older models due to be replaced, hardly the game changers they could have been. What's more, Biden lashed out at Britain for daring to offer to train Ukrainian pilots without authority from the White House. He followed this up by blocking the English candidate for head of NATO out of spite. Why? A fully armed F-16 has a range of 500 miles, putting the plane, if it takes off from some of Ukraine's airbases, within striking distance of targets well inside Russian territory. It would be an ideal solution for Ukraine's efforts in not only dissuading the Russian Air Force from getting too clever and hopefully assisting with downing drones and other air-to-air threats. Yet, there he sits, unprepared to give them what they need. Why? To me, Biden is afraid and yet doesn't want to be seen as a full-blown appeaser, so he dribble feeds arms to Ukraine so it looks like he is doing his best. It's virtue signaling and nothing more. By allowing this fear to consume him, he is giving Russia and its allies the power to continue and to perhaps increase their dreams of dominating in the east of Europe. This fear has only been confirmed by reports of backdoor peace talks between the US and Russia, something that Biden denies, but I am not convinced. He has always wanted a way for Russia to come out on top without America looking overtly pro-Russian. The fall of Ukraine and the liberalization of Poland will only make the void bigger for Russia and its allies to absorb. I also want to point out that America has been and continues to be an empire, very much in the same mold as ancient Rome, the Mongols, and the United Kingdom. Sure, the way this empire was achieved was more political and financial, but it was also based on the unrelenting effect of its perceived power. Now, like all those empires before it, it's in massive decline and its internal political situation is simply speeding it up. Nothing shows this better than the continual failing in its foreign policy. It's not a Democratic or Republican thing, both sides have moved the decline along, but it does seem to be speeding up and Rome will fall. The main question, what then? I think it's time for Biden to be called out. He has slow-played his support and the damage it has done to the reputation of the US is massive. It's a sign that the world needs to be ready to go it alone. What's more, this has recently been reflected by the way the Red Sea Naval Task Force has been handled. So many nations have pulled out rather than work with the Americans. Expect more of this. What are your thoughts? Is America heading towards obscurity?